The spark. When humanity first climbed to the summit of the mountain, and for the very first time the eyes of a human looked down from the mountain into the valley, a lightning struck his staff and ignited the first flame in human hands. This moment was the spark that ignited the fire in humans, and the spark became God. From now on, he was the human of fire, and thus he spoke. It is time for man to set a goal. It is time for man to plant the seed of his highest hope. His soil is still rich enough for it, but one day this soil will be poor and tame, and no tall tree will be able to grow from it anymore. Alas, the time is coming when man will no longer cast the arrow of his longing beyond humanity and has forgotten how to make the bowstring whir. I tell you, one must still have chaos in oneself to give birth to a dancing star. I tell you, you still have chaos within you. And so the human of fire carried his fire into the valleys, for he did not foresee the punishments of the arsonist. The Great Dream. Having reached the bottom of the mountain, the first climber stood on a stone and told the people about the spark. The first climber of the fire mountain spoke. "I have a dream. One day the spark will become a fire, and the mountain will come alive. In honor of the fire mountain, we will build the first temple, not because it is easy, but because it is hard." And the mountain became God. The first climber wrote the story of the spark on a scroll, which was henceforth kept in the temple. Through this, people should forever be reminded that the fire was possible. The Temple of Fire. The people of fire built a temple of unprecedented precision and size, never before and never again reached, and the temple became God. Thus, the people made pilgrimages to the mountain of fire to receive the sacrament of the flame, and every person was granted the fire. From now on, there were two types of people of fire, the igniters and the ignited. The igniters believed in the fire, and the ignited believed in the priests. Utopia. The grand plan of the first climber bore fruit long after his death, and the Temple of Fire became known everywhere in the lands. The great-great-great-granddaughter of the first climber, the priestess of fire, organized a grand festival for all igniters and ignited. There she declared that from now on, igniters and ignited would jointly decide the fate of the temple. Thus, the people of fire made pilgrimages in unprecedented numbers to the festival of fire. The priests had forgotten the summit, but had taken possession of the mountain. Their minds and imagination were not stained by the toil of summiting, allowing them to stoke the fire to ecstasy as the first climber would never have dared. And the fire became God. The war with God. And the temple flame grew and grew until the priests of fire saw that a new age had dawned, and for this new age a new God emerged. Thus spoke the priests of fire. "I, the human, control the flame. Therefore I stand here. I can do nothing but follow the teachings of fire and realize man is God." And man became God. It happened that the priests of fire declared war on God. God is dead. Now began the decisive existential battle of humanity, fought on a scale never before seen. After an almost infinite effort, the priests of fire were able to subdue God and kill him. But the priests of fire also died in this battle. God became dead. The flag. As God was now completely consumed, the people of fire had to approach their own flame and felt how small and weak it was. They longed for God's flame back, but it was too late. God had been irreversibly burnt. The people of fire, who once possessed warmth and light in abundance, now had to learn to be content with the inner light. Thus, the people of fire came up with the idea that all small, weak lights together are God. And so it happened that the people of fire gave their last bit of remaining light to the state, so that at least it might have one flame. Those who did not want to give away their own light were robbed and enslaved by the community of weak lights, and the state became God. Revolution. The surrender of this last small light led to the complete darkness of the people, and in this darkness emerged the truther individuals who, for generations, had not seen light with their own eyes. They tirelessly and relentlessly searched in the darkness, not knowing exactly what they were looking for. Only this inner feeling, this premonition, this faint glimmer of light, this quiet promise that there must be something more that the state did not tell them, kept them persevering in their tireless search, until finally, on an old scroll in a long-forgotten temple, they found the story of the spark. They recognized that light was their birthright, their dowry for this world, to defend themselves against the darkness of the state. No death penalty in the world could stop them from burning, and so the people of fire remembered the spark and ignited the flag. As it burned, the people of fire proclaimed, "We hold this truth to be self-evident, that all flames have the right to shine, and their pursuit of light is their inalienable right, and reason became God." Sound and smoke reason bored the dancer of fire until she began to play with fire. By fanning the smoke, she clouded the senses and minds of the people of fire to the point of ecstasy. Burning dreams. As the ecstasy reached infinity, the first climber of the mountain awoke from his dream. He knew the punishments of the arsonist, proudly raised his burning staff into the sky, and carried his fire into the valleys.